Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Uddevalla in Sweden, the MXGP of Sweden, round 15 of the FIA Motocross World Championship. And on our studio show today, we have Tom Vialle, he's already in place, Jason Thomas from Fly Racing, and right at the end of the show, Gautier Paulin, of course, Monster Energy Wilvo Yamaha. But before we meet Mr. Vialle, Lisa Leyland, here we are after a one-year hiatus. Beautiful country, great racetrack. But it's going to be a very busy weekend, isn't it?
There's a lot happening this weekend, isn't it? It's a busy one. We've got all our we've got 3 champions to be crowned, haven't we? We've
potentially.
Got potentially 125s, 250s, and of course in MX2. So it's a lot happening. It's the last round in Europe, Paul.
It is.
It's the last round in Europe. We've made it.
We've made it.
Kind of.
And then after a one-week break, we go to Turkey and then China to round out the season. But enough of all that. Let's meet our first guest. Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, Tom Vialle. First time on the studio show. Welcome.
Yeah, hello.
Please don't be nervous.
No.
Lisa will not bite. But Tom, it's been a fantastic start to the season. First GP in Patagonia, you got a whole shot. You finished 7th overall. And then in Matterley Basin, you take another whole shot, finish third overall, get your first podium. You couldn't have asked for a better start for your MX2 career.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's very crazy. Also, the first start, also your gate's very strong on the start. But when I make the first shot, for me, it's a good moment.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you enjoyed the track in Patagonia?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and when you led in the beginning of the race, when you came around, you passed the Fox whole shot line. Were you nervous?
Yeah, yes, a bit. But yeah, I take the earth shot, and after, for me it's good to finish all the lap first. But Jorge passed me on the second corner, maybe, and yeah, it's really strong Jorge, and on the beginning of the race, and it's hard to follow him, but it's a good moment.
And obviously in Matterley, there was no Jorge.
Yes.
But another foxhole shot, and your first podium. What were you thinking? First of all, you enjoyed the track there, right?
Yeah, the track also is very good. I like it.
Yeah. And, you know, from your side, again, leading a race, 1 or 2 laps, 2 or 3 laps. I mean, were you still thinking, man, this is crazy?
Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, Jorge missed this GP, and I take the all shot again, and I lead maybe 10 minutes in the first and second race. And yeah, it's a good moment for me, really good. And after Olsen passed me, but now the race, it's fantastic for me.
Well, it's your first year with Red Bull KTM. When was your first day, official day, and how was it? Was it more difficult than you expected?
Yeah. The first day is from November, at the beginning of November, and when I test the first time the bike, it's a bit hard. Yeah, also the engine for me is the first time with the factory bike. Yeah. And yeah, so the beginning it's a bit hard. Yeah.
Many laps and...
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, how has it been working with Joel Smets? How important has he been to you this year?
Yeah, for me, Joel is very important. Also on the week, it's yeah, all the day we're with me for training on the sport and also on the bike and the testing on the bike. Joel, for me, it's a good part for me, yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, we're going to fast forward now to Germany, Palembang and Samarang, the 2 Indonesian roles. You were actually 3 times second overall. Did you think any of this was possible in your first season in MX2?
Yeah, no, for sure. At the beginning of season, for me, 1 or 2 podium, it's fantastic. But yeah, after touch and tile, I feel really good on the bike, and many changements also on my back and my suspension. But yeah, after I feel really good in Indonesia. And
this race in particular, when Jorge made the mistake and you were leading again, what, 5, 6 laps, 4, 5 laps?
Yeah.
And during the race, I remember racing with your dad, Frederick, and I remember in 96, 97, he won a race in Indonesia, and we were this close to seeing history where you and your father, you know, win a race in Indonesia. He must have been really proud.
Yeah, when I follow the beginning of the race, your game feel really good, and but I push a bit hard for me also. And when he crashed, yeah, again 10 minutes the race, and yeah, I push, but Jörg Geerts push more to me, and he come back strong and he passed me. But it's a good moment, yeah, for sure.
Well, obviously that was the Indonesian rounds. Last weekend, a difficult weekend in Imola. 2 crashes, but are you ready to fight again? Because you lost 3rd place in the championship. You're now 5.
Yes.
Are you ready to fight again for 3rd, maybe more?
Yeah, for sure. I'm ready to fight. But last weekend for the championships, it's really bad. But for me, it's a good weekend also. I learn a lot on my mistake. But yeah, now I'm ready to fight for the last 3 rounds.
Okay.
Okay, well, we have a question on social media for you, Tom. And this one's from Clara Gay. And they said, are you ready for the Motocross of Nations?
Yeah, for sure I'm ready. But it's my first time also in a Motocross of Nations. But yeah, it's a crazy race, and it's a good race for me, and also for the team French. She win a lot last year and many years. Now it's good to...
And being with Red Bull KTM, riding a lot in the sand,
yes,
maybe this is a good time for you, because maybe you are more prepared for something like Assen.
Yeah, I ride a lot with Joel in the sun, also this week in Lommel, and all the year in the sun. But yeah, it's a good preparation for Lommel.
Okay, well, look, Tom Vialle, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good luck this weekend and the final 2 races in Turkey and China, and maybe we see you back in the top 3.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Tom.
Go.
Well, we have a quick reminder of how you can keep up to date with us here in Sweden. If you're feeling sociable, then check out all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And as always, we will be live for all the races today and tomorrow on MXGP TV. Or, if you prefer, then why not watch us on demand as and when it suits you. Either way, we hope you enjoy the racing here from Uddevalla. We certainly will, won't we?
We will. All right. Well, we are out of time. Once again, thank you, Tom. We will meet Jason Thomas from Fly Racing in just a moment. But before we do, here's some highlights from Imola, MX2 Race 2. Enjoy. Morgan Luciano tried to get a sneaky look at the clutch work there from Jorge Prado, but it didn't work. Prado held a nice tight line to the inside. It was Gautier Paulin who took his first ever foxhole shot, but look at Vialle. He went straight on the chicane, tried to re-emerge, and then this happened. Hit once and then twice, and the Frenchman was out again. A disastrous day for the Red Bull KTM rider, who would slip to 5th in the championship chase. Gautier Paulin fell from 2nd, remounted in 7th place, and would have to do it all again. The 2 F&H Kawasaki's, led by Adam Sterry, were once again locked wheel to wheel, but the impressive Maxime Renaux soon split those 2 up. First past Jacobi, and he was quickly followed by Gautier Paulin, who was quickly back on the case. Sterry tried to keep Renaux at bay, but it was all to no avail. The Frenchman slid under the inside of the Welshman, got his head down, and went after more points. Sterry's race came to an abrupt halt. A handlebar in the chin meant he would not finish the race, and despite slipping off in 3rd, Valandren did not lose any positions. All eyes on the battle between Renaux and Geerts in the latter stages of the race as they fought over 4th place. Valandren held on to 3rd for Team HRC, but couldn't do anything about Thomas Kjær Olsen on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, who cruised home to 2nd position. But it was Jorge Prado with race win number 26 that cemented his 29th career Grand Prix victory, his 14th victory of the season. Olsen came home 2nd overall with 2 second-place finishes. Maxime Renaux on the podium for the first time in MX2 with a 3rd and a 4th. And in the championship chase, Prado now leads Olsen by 130 points heading into Sweden. Gautier Paulin is back up to 3rd, Jacobi 4th, and Vialle has slumped to 5th. But what a fantastic day for Maxime Renaux on the podium for the first time, but Jorge Prado getting closer to that 2nd world title. Welcome back to our live studio show here on MXGP TV, the MXGP of Sweden here at Uddevalla, where our second guest is now in position. Jason Thomas from Fly Racing, welcome once again. It's getting to be a bit of a habit.
Yeah, but I would like to make it one, absolutely.
Yeah, great to see you again. Well, look, last week, Tim Geiss took the title in MXGP. What are your thoughts on how we went about the season this year?
Well, you know, I think the turning point was Trentino. He had such a great battle with Tony there, and it's a shame because I think we were maybe robbed of such a championship battle all the way down the stretch. But, you know, once Tony left the series, you kind of got the feeling that Tim felt like he was the class of the field, and maybe he backed it off just a touch to where he could manage wins when they were possible, and if it wasn't there, yeah, maybe he didn't have to win that day. But what a great comeback series for Tim after, you know, his championship before.
Well, going into the first race last week, he only needed to finish 8th in first race if Jeremy Seewer was to win it. And people have said to me since then, did I think that Tim was holding back in order just to win the championship? But from where I was standing, it didn't look like that, as we'll see from some of the clips.
Yeah, you wonder how much of the Slovenian crowd played into that. I think he really wanted to win and win the championship with an overall win as well. He made one of his... He's had these crazy crashes this year where he just somehow always gets up, and he resorted back to that. But it was a testament, really, to how much he wanted to win the moto, I think.
And he was, you know, making mistakes along the way. I mean, I think after the race with Lisa, he was saying, I was so fast in the race, but made mistakes. We do have the crash coming up, but he was prepared to put it all on the line when he didn't need to, and that shows you a mark of who he is. Yeah,
I think that just goes back to he wanted to go out, you know, and stamp the championship in front of all his friends and family there. But in the end, he got the job done, even after a big crash.
I mean, when we did see the big crash, he was pretty lucky to get away with that one, wasn't he? Coming up in just a moment, because obviously he got himself into second, I think, behind Gautier, and then just in front of the monster rig. We have it coming up. He hit the ground hard there.
Yeah. I think maybe he should speak to Jeffrey Hurlings about how to have these crashes and bounce back up, right? You go back to Matterley, and there were so many crashes where I'm like, oh, no, he's injured. And he wasn't. He ended up winning a world championship amidst all those crashes.
Well, after Mantova, he was 40 points down on Cairoli, but within 2 rounds, he was just 10 points behind. How much of that was down to Tim perhaps gaining edge on Tony mentally after the 1-1 he got in Portugal and France? Do you think that made a difference?
Yeah, it's momentum, right? This racing is so much with confidence, and you look at Tony's been really dominant. Tim and Jeffrey both a little bit over Tim the last few years. So for Tim, I think he had to prove to himself that he could go with those guys and actually beat them one-on-one, and just when it's just those two. And once he did that, I think mentally he turned a corner, and that's why I was so disappointed to not see that battle between those two, because neither of them would have backed down all the way down to the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this weekend, Prado can wrap up the title. He needs to be 3rd in race 1 if TKO wins.
Yep.
How impressed have you been with him this year? 26 race wins, 14 GP victories. I mean, he's been unstoppable, hasn't he?
Yeah, legendary. Going into the season, I was curious to see if he did move to MX1, how that would go, and for MXGP, and it's hard to think he's not prepared now. Even as young as he is, the form and the poise and just the class he's shown all season has everyone, I think, now, yeah, he's ready to make that move.
Well, we'll talk more about that in a moment. But another rider that caught the eye of everybody was Maxime Renault, the Yamaha SM Action MC Milieu rider. Got his first podium in MX2. He came close in Indonesia with 2 fourths. Someone to look out for next year, perhaps, because we have a bunch of guys moving into MXGP.
Sure, yeah, and I went back and was looking at some of his results, and for his first full year in MX2, what an improvement he's shown. He raced a few MX2 rounds last year, nothing impressive, in the 20s sometimes. To be on the podium in this class right now takes a lot. So I was impressed. You know, for the USA contingent, we don't, you know, it's a newer name for us. So for him to step up at a very difficult track last weekend says a lot for what his potential could be next year.
Okay, well, Motocross of Nations is on the horizon. Everyone's talking about it. Are you happy with Team USA selection?
Yeah, of course. You know, it's been the talking point. Kawasaki's abstaining from the race and how all the ripple effects of that. But in the end, I've always just asked that we have riders that want to go. If you want to go and you're going to put in max effort, prepare for it, and give it really the respect that the event deserves, I'm okay with that, whatever that looks like.
Just remind us again the team. Jason Anderson.
Yep, Zach Osborne obviously is the team captain, and Justin Cooper in the MX2 class.
Blessinger was on the team last year for the first time. How do you think Cooper will fare? Because obviously having a Motocross Nations at home is one thing, and then you know what it's like traveling here, let alone, you know, racing here as well. But for a Nations, it's a big deal for someone like Justin Cooper, first time on a team in Europe.
Yeah, it's going to be a learning experience, no doubt. They're coming over early, so Zach Osborne, I'm sure, will be in his ear the entire time, walking him through the process and trying to keep him calm. That's the big thing about that event, is just keep your emotions in check, do what you know how to do. The great thing about Justin Cooper is he is a phenomenal starter. He's proven that all year since his career started really professionally. So in the MX2 class, competing against 450s, if you can get a good start, that's going to open the opportunity for a good finish. And that's one thing he can do very well. So I'm going to be watching for that all weekend. I think if he can put himself in a good position, similar to what Jorge Prado did last year on the MX2 bike, then good things will happen for Team USA.
Team GB, Team Great Britain took a hit last week. Two riders, Max Anstey.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? I'm fine.
I'm not okay about this.
But,
no, it's hit me hard.
But it was quite a devastating blow to a team that looked solid at the start of the weekend.
Yeah, and then obviously with Max Anstey still in the air, right? He's hopeful to be able to race. Yeah, it's tough. But, you know, with this race, it just seems like if you show up, you have a solid team, and you go into it and put good results on the board, anything can happen. We've gone with the strongest team and then a team that no one thought could do well as far as the USA goes, and we've had good results and bad results accordingly. So I try not to dwell too much on the team. It's such a unique event, and the craziest results always go on there. So who would have expected Max Anstey to go 1-1 at Matterley a couple of years ago, right? So you never really know what to expect at that event.
And it's a shame for him because he just came back into form. With that win in Lommel.
Of course, yeah. So it's unfortunate, but like I said, if you'd have told me that Team USA would be who it was going into this event early in the year, I would have said no way, right? So you just never really know, and I just try to keep an open mind.
Yeah, well, Team France looks strong again.
Always.
Can they make it 6 in a row, do you think?
I have the Dutch as the favorite, with Jeffrey coming back a full month ahead to prepare, and he's made it, you know, known that his goal is Assen at this point, right? And everything he's doing up until then is to be 100% for that event. I think it's interesting to watch them make the decision between Rohan and Calvin Blonderen, right? That will be interesting. But I have the Dutch as the favorite. Koldenhoff is on form, which is unbelievable. So on paper, you know, the French, how can you say no when they've won so many events in a row now? But a Dutch event, they're going to be good.
And I was going to say, Dutch have to be favourites on home soil. They have changed the track considerably. I haven't seen a plan yet, but everybody that I'm talking to internally saying it's significant changes, different start, different finish, more out sort of the back end of the circuit.
Can we get some different dirt?
No, that's not changing. It's still going to be sand. It's still going to be heavy sand.
I was scared of that.
But so, you know, we're going there. No one has an advantage. Only riders that have been there, they've got an idea of the type of dirt, you know. But just briefly, I don't know. First time here this weekend. Thoughts on the track here in Sweden?
Yeah, it's an incredible, you know, backdrop. It's so unique compared to, and that's what I love about MXGP events is everywhere you go is so different, right? You guys are going to Turkey, and then I will be joining you in China, and you just see all of these different things. But this track is so much different than Imola the weekend and then Lommel before. I just love the variety that MXGP brings. So I'm just excited to be a part of the event.
All right. Well, look, Jason Thomas, Fly Racing, thanks for joining us. We are out of time. Gautier Paulin is waiting just outside in the green room. And we will talk to him in a moment. But before we do, here's some highlights from MXGP Race 2 from Imola last week. Championship decided. Tim Geiser now, with no pressure, wanted to win race 2 to go out in style, but it was Glenn Koldenhoff who took his third foxhole shot of the season. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek and Brian Bogers went down at turn 1. Bogers would eventually pull out of the race, but up front, Koldenhoff doing what he did in race 1, this time checking out early. Paulin here just behind Romain Fevre and Tim Geiser, emerging around about 6th position on the opening lap. Tommy Searle made a great start, but before the end of the first lap was pushed down to 7th as several riders came through. Koldenhoff, though, was in a class of his own. C was 2nd, Jonas 3rd, Geiser 4th, Paulin and Fevre giving chase just behind. Arno Tonas went missing on the first lap. He would eventually rejoin and get back to 16th. Koldenoff extended his lead over Jeremy Seewer. All of a sudden, Gautier was in the mood. Made this move on Jonas to move into third behind Jeremy Seewer. Paulin was hanging down there in 5th place, ahead of Febvre. Seewer in no mood to let the new world champion by, but then Gautier got his opportunity right in front of his Slovenian fans. Then he ran wide. Seewer was back into 2nd. But then it was a mistake from Seewer that eventually allowed Gautier to go back through. A bobble on this jump here, and the Slovenian was through into 2nd. From there, he controlled the race. It was going to be good enough for a podium, but he had 1 or 2 little moments towards the end of the race. That pass put Gautier Paulin into 4th and Jonas down to 5th. Alessandro Lupino was circulating in 8th place, but he got caught and passed by Jordi Tixier on the VHR KTM in the latter stages of the race. Lupino, top Italian, in 9th. But Glenn Koldenoff and Standing Construct KTM were simply sensational. He went on to win his first Grand Prix since 2015 in Latvia, but it's his first ever double moto victory. Seewer was 2nd, his best ever result in MXGP. Gautier 3rd. And Gautier, of course, world champion. Seewer now 41 points clear of Paulin. Tonas 4th. Koldenoff now up to 5th from 7th. But congratulations, Tim Gautier and Team HRC on winning the world championship. But congratulations, Glenn Koldenoff and Standing Construct KTM on a sensational victory here in Italy. Welcome back to our live studio show here on MXGP TV with myself and Lisa Leyland. Our 3rd and final guest is in position now, Gautier Paulin, Monster Energy Volvo Yamaha. Gautier, thanks for joining us. 3 rounds to go in the championship. You're sitting in 3rd place. Are you happy with how things have gone, or maybe do you feel things should have been a little bit better?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, you know, I'm pretty happy. Obviously, I'm here. I'm defending a good place in the championship and can do everything. You know, we start from a white page today, so I can do good. This is the main and the overall thing. After, of course, you know, you always want to do better as a sportsman. If you don't do 1-1, then can be better. That's the goal. That's the target. So, of course, if I could change things, I would until I win. But things are like this, and we keep working. But happy to be here on the position where I can defend it.
Obviously, you changed teams in the off-season, new brand again, new bike. But you seem to settle in quickly. You got your first podium round 2, Matchley Basin. Is that always a nice thing to be able to do that with a new team? Just then you can maybe just relax a little bit more, because sometimes you can expect to be on the podium but chase it 5 rounds, 6 rounds, 7 rounds. But round 2, was that good for you?
Yeah, it was really good. You know, with the Monster Energy Volvo Yamaha team, we've been working pretty hard, and as you could see, when I went on the podium, 2nd round was a big gift for myself and for the crew. You know, team is a satellite team, and to bring them to the podium, there wasn't really for them. They are not used to, so it was pretty cool. And yeah, winter was really short to change bike. It's a big work, hard work, and also like some question, you know, until you do some testing, until you go to the races. Nothing it's similar, you know. You can be testing hard, but the track are never the same than in racing. So you can try to adjust everything, but you need to be racing. That's clear, even with the experience I've had. So it was really good to be first of all in the game at the first round, because we were in the game even with my crash at the start, and then to be directly on the podium and be battling up front. So this was exciting.
Well, there were 2 more podiums for you, Mantova, Trentino, and then I guess you hit a bit of a bad patch. Why was that, and do you think that affected you challenging for that title?
Exact. You know, first of all, I went to Portugal, and there was kind of a big jump going out of the wave, and I jumped it second lap in the free practice, so no one could see it. There was all the camera guy from each factory team, and I went directly in a second lap to make it and just keep it quiet. And yeah, no one did it. And then at the time practice, I went for my first fast lap and made a mistake. I went a bit too quick on, and it was 90 degrees jump, and I went a bit too far out, and jump was really much longer on the outside, and I went short and got a big crash. So that was it. From that one, Portugal was a hard weekend for me, and crashed at the first lap. And then I went to France, and France I get hit by I get hit. I don't know. First lap in the GP, it's pretty tough always. And then I broke my front brake, so no front brake, so it made me doing a 16th place in first moto. And then I went to Russia and knocked myself out on the second moto, so on the first moto. So pretty tough second moto, and all those 3 rounds, makes me in a bad mood and in a bad position. And then from a knockout, it's pretty hard to train, pretty hard to understand. Sometimes you're really feeling good, and sometimes not. I also hurt my left finger, but this wasn't really a big deal. Only on the start, I couldn't really release the clutch on one finger. I need to add 2. So, but I really think no one in the MXGP season have not. Once, a little tricky moment. So this was my one, which takes a little long, but this is part of history now.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll forget about that. Let's talk about Arnaud Tonus. What's it like having him as a teammate? I guess one of the highlights of the year is when both of you were on the podium in Germany together. We've got a clip here. Yeah,
I mean, with Arnaud, it's a long time friendship relation. I mean, with Arnaud, we've been riding 85 together, and always since that we've been being buddies. I was in the US when he was there. I was at his house, and we've been making some boot camp with the time together, and now we are in the same team. So it was really important, for me to keep that same relationship, even if you wanna be up front as a rider, because it's definitely war when you go to track, and we keep it, and it's awesome to have some battle with him, and we're also training every day together on motorcycles. So it's pretty cool, and also for the team, there is such a good atmosphere under the tent. So glad in the motocross we can bring that image, because it's definitely not an image. It's true.
Yeah. Well, despite 1 or 2 problems over the series, last weekend you led some races. You got yourself back up front. You were 4th overall. That must have been nice, being back at the sharp end. Leading again. Even though for 2 or 3 laps or whatever it is, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get a little tight when I was up front. So this is how it is. Need to be fair and true, transparent, but. Yeah, it was really, really awesome to be leading the race. Now I want to start again and continue until I win. That's the target. But it was so nice, yeah, no word. I'm training for those moments.
Okay, well, we've got a couple of questions on social media for you, Gautier. First one from Jen Solon 95. Does Sweden and Uddevalla feel special for you, since you've been on the podium 3 times in MX2 and once in MXGP here?
Yes, it feels special because it's a track that it's really technically hard, and it's a track that can be really different. If it's dry or if it's wet, can be different. Can be rutted or it can be completely hard packed and slippery. So it's a track that I like, and it's a track that feels special for many riders. They're a bit so-so, but I'm kind of taking advantage out of it.
Okay. Another question from Nobody Knows. Describe yourself in 5 words. I can describe you in 5 words.
All right, you start and I continue.
You go first. You go first, and then I'll go second.
In 5 words, I would say, first of all, I have a lot of determination in what I want to do overall, out of motocross or in life or whatever. Then passion, because I have a lot of passion, maybe too much. Love, because I'm surrounded by people who is love, so this is awesome. I would say also family. I love the family I have. And what else? And let's say motocross, because it's my job, and it's my everyday, and it's what I love also.
Absolutely. Okay, final question, Clara Gay. Are you ready for the Motocross of Nations in Aston?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I need to.
That's it. Yes.
5 words: tall, tart, handsome, fast.
Big hands.
Big hands.
They're definitely big hands, Gautier, definitely. Anyway, I think that's it. We can finish there.
We're out of time when we will finish. But Gautier Paulin, thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Enjoy this weekend and the final 2 races and the Motocross Nations in Assen. We will be back live from 1:50 with 125 European Championship Race 1, of course, presented by FMF Racing. And then from 4 o'clock with European 250 Championship, MX2 and MXGP qualifying races. We will be back in 2 weeks. Afyon in Turkey. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.